Hello again. This is the second video of my Halloween Horror Nights history for Halloween Horror Nights 17, Carnival of Carnage, from 2007, a few years ago, and it's being taped today on Sunday, September 11th, of all days, to talk about the Carnival of Carnage. Oh my. Yeah. Let's see, where was I? Talking about the website that was leading up to the event. So, we were all excited about that. Now, through the month of July, there's 3 posters of Freddy, Jason, and Leatherface that were on the website. One after another became clickable with some other information about the characters and some idea, but not really much about the houses, but, you know, give us a little bit extra there. And it was a little they teased us a lot then. Not as much as they teased us this year. Boy, did they ever tease us this year. But they were starting to build the excitement. And you kind of knew what was coming, though, because you already knew there'd be houses. You already knew what 4 houses were from the very get-go. But then we began to hear rumors that the icon for the event would be Jack the Clown. And some people thought, oh, it can't be Jack, it can't be. But eventually we discovered the truth when they prematurely revealed Jack as the icon at that time, where today they have, I think, some kind of shop for racing gear next to that restaurant in City Walk for car racing, NASCAR sort of place. There used to be a gift shop there connected to Universal stuff, and they made it into a Halloween shop seasonally with all kinds of masks and junk. Not there anymore, but they used to, and at that time they put up a big billboard for Halloween Horror Nights with Jack on it. And so we, somebody in merchandising or whoever put that up well before Jack was revealed on the website. And so we said, okay, it is going to be Jack. Before that happened, in July, around July 23rd, we started to get the first hint of that when the website showed 2 new pages. The first it showed sort of a map, and on the map there was a little insignia that said JS, which of course we would eventually realize meant Jack Schmidt, the name of Jack the Clown. And it showed all sorts of artifacts in a map, and it goes all over the frickin' world to Antarctica. Eventually, as things were added in, we learned where the houses were and what they were going to be, the hints on this map. And there was like a top hat and a cane, which were a part of Jack's thing, and the backstory would eventually reveal that his cane was a cane of souls that he would use to collect the various creatures and things that would be in his Carnival of Carnage, and the top hat and the ringmaster outfit that he got after he took over the Carnival, but that was a backstory we'd learn later. At this point, however, we saw this map in various places, places like, say, Springwood, where would come, and Antarctica, and whatever place in Canada that Dead Silence took place, and the place in New Jersey where Blairston, or whatever it's called, where Friday the 13th Camp Crystal Lake was, and of course a strange little town in New York, and upstate New York was another one, a place in of course Texas, naturally, and a few other places that all fit into where the various places and the houses would be. At the same time, there's another page that showed a countryside area, sort of where a carnival was going up, very similar to, give you the feel of, like, have you ever read Something Wicked This Way Comes? Ray Bradbury, my cousin, he's my cousin, by the way. Did you know that? Ray Bradbury's my cousin. He's like my 9th cousin. We're descended from the same Salem witches. True, absolutely true. We're descended from the same Salem witches. I love that. I'm cousins with Mary Bradbury because we're descended from Mary Bradbury in Salem, and I'm descended from her sister, Elizabeth Perkins, who she was born Mary Perkins, and she married a man named Bradbury. So the same Perkins family line goes into both my family tree and Bradbury's tree. So that's how that happened. But enough of that boasting about my connections to that. But if you've ever read that or saw the movie with Jonathan Pryce, Something Wicked This Way Comes, and how the carnival just sort of magically appeared, and this is sort of like that. This dark carnival was sort of appearing little bits and pieces over time, and as the pieces form, we begin to find out what's going to be there. And one little tent pops up, and then maybe something else comes up, and eventually the whole thing would be revealed. But this was slowly over the weeks of July leading into August, actually into July and August. So all these little bits and pieces started popping up. We actually knew Jack was going to be there before the Ferris wheel showed up, and the Ferris wheel had Jack's face on it, and that really gave it away. And eventually stuff started to be clickable. When it became clickable, as it went in towards August, say the Thing exhibit, for example, and it was like a little trailer, it turned out to be the Thing. There was a game you had to play to get the backstory of the house, sort of like what's happening this year, only it wasn't a game that you would lose and be banned for an hour. No, it was a game where it just had to be hard to figure out how to win it, and then you could go onto one of the fan forums, and oh, that's how you do it. Then you can go back and play it again, and you can go in and see a video or something, a little clue that would tell you about the house. And so for that reason, I had been lurking in the background on the HHN Vault for a couple of years by this point, since 2005 and 2006. But in 2007, I thought, well, you know what the hell? On September 19th, because those things continued past the full site reveal on August 30th, they continued to add games and more information on the website. On August 30th, the full site went live, and you had Jack pop up, the Carnival of Carnage with his little tarot cards, and then you went to those other 2 pages to get more information. But more stuff was added even through September. On September 19th, I went ahead and registered at HHN Vault. I've been using it to get clues on how to play and win the games and find out the little videos about the houses. But I registered on that day. Talk Like a Pirate Day, September 19th, and became Dr. Jimmy for the first time, joining HHN Vault. So it was a memorable time for me, quite a bit. Right, so the full website was up by the end of August, August 30th, and same time the full website came up, this year, and we got to see officially what all the houses were and all the everything else. It was quite exciting, and we knew that Jack the Clown, and it had a rather movie feel to it because we had 5 movies represented at the event. 5 movies. We had the Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Dead Silence, but also The Thing. So we had 5 of the 8 houses. But there were 8 houses. It was the first time they ever had 8 houses. Previously they went up as many as 7 in 2006, but now they went up to 8 houses. And it's been 8 houses ever since. There's been rumors there might be a 9th house this year. Not likely. Sorry. We've already got the reveal, so we know how many houses we're going to have. And unless they have a 2-run house, but I don't think that's going to happen. So still only 8 houses. Maybe someday we'll have 9. I don't know. But not this year. It's been 8 ever since 2007. So the 8 houses were, first, Dead Silence. This was in Soundstage 22, the same location they've used in more recent years. If you remember, last year, Legendary Truth, the Wyandotte estate was in that location. This year, that'll be the site of a house called Winter's Night, The Haunting of Hawthorne Cemetery. Well, in 2007, it was Dead Silence, and interestingly enough, we also had an evil old crone-like character. We might have something like that this year, Lady Elizabeth Hawthorne's tortured ghost haunting us, and a cemetery scene, although the cemetery scene wasn't the whole house. This year it probably will be. Much of the house will be set in that cemetery, and crypts and things. But that Dead Silence, you went in and they tried very hard to replicate the movie as much as possible. With the movie-related houses, especially beginning that year, when they wanted to sell a movie, in this case the DVD for a movie, they tried very hard to replicate it, and we see that continuing to this year. The Thing House this year, I'm sure, will be very close to the movie, unlike the Thing House in 2007, which wasn't as close. But the Dead Silence house did a lot to recreate the set pieces. The cemetery was like the cemetery in the movie, and you had a character there dressed like the detective played by Donnie Wahlberg, who used to be, of course, a new kid on the block, but who was in that movie as a cop. And so we saw him before he became a cop in Saw, which is interesting. He would continue to play cop characters in these horror films, but which in fact actually makes sense because they were made by the same guy, wasn't they? James Wan or Wano or whatever, those guys. So they went in there, and there would be a cemetery, and then you go into the house itself, and you'd go through various scenes from the movie, and finally go into the big theater itself. And there was a great illusion where you were standing on this catwalk, and you could see Mary Shaw way down below you, but she really wasn't. But it was a mirror. It made an idea that you were towering way, and you thought you were like 2 or 3 stories above, and you thought, oh my God, I could fall. It was quite a nifty illusion they put in the house, to create the idea that you're at a height when you really were only maybe a couple feet off the floor of the soundstage there. And lots of creepy little dolls, really nifty effects, scares with the mirrors, so that you think Mary Shaw is here, and she's actually right behind you, and she's there. And of course, if you scream, you know she's going to take your tongue and kill you, so you're terrified. The nasty little dolls and creepy attic scenes. It was really nifty. I thought it did a very good job of recreating the whole oeuvre of the movie. And there was a cameo appearance by the Billy doll from Saw as well in that, and a clown doll, a few other things that were in there that were quite neat. So that was Dead Silence. Second house was Friday the 13th, Camp Blood. It was in the Jaws Q area, where of course this year we're going to have the Sauce and Steam House. Well, that year, Camp Blood, they did a lot of people think that Jaws Q's houses weren't as good. This was one of the best Jaws Q houses since they've started using that again in 2006, because it really gave the idea of being at Camp Crystal Lake. The way it's set up kind of resembles, you know, the architecture in that area sort of resembles the summer camp cabins and everything, so you got that feel. When the light came through from outside, you sort of, that kind of fit in as well to Camp Crystal Lake, especially, and after dark, you know, you'd see Jason outside looking in the windows like he was out in the campgrounds in one scene. And when Jason showed up, he was played by enormous characters, big, huge people like Brian, aka CD, who was very good, and the others who played Jason, also big, enormous characters. And he would pop up and be in your face constantly. He would go into the various cabins where dead bodies were in bunk beds and things, and one of the neat was he was decapitating someone. They did a really good job of that. And there was the shrine to his mother from Friday the 13th 2 was recreated near the end, which was also very effective. I rather liked that house quite a bit. I thought it was very atmospheric. Okay. Jack's Funhouse and Clownavision was the Icon's house that year, as Jack the Clown was brought back as an icon. The idea behind Jack being the icon was that he had gone back after escaping from the mental institution, or wherever he was, gone back and found the old Professor Oddfellow, who had gotten him arrested or killed or whatever way back when, and took his revenge. Yeah, he was killed by Oddfellow, actually, and his goons. So he went back to the circus, and he killed Oddfellow, and took his ringmaster jacket and top hat, and became the ringmaster of the Carnival of Carnage, renaming the dark carnival into the Carnival of Carnage, and especially the cane, which had supernatural powers, allowing him to collect these various supernatural entities and monsters and demons, whatever, and bring them and take them a part of his traveling circus show, which is what we were in, supposedly. Jack then had his own fun house. It was presented in Clownavision. This was then what they call the 3D effect. Now, I've talked about this before. It's an effect where you have these glasses, these stereo, and they're not really 3D glasses. What they do is they cause bright fluorescent colored paint to pop. So when you wear the glasses and you happen to see something painted in the bright colors, those colors will look closer to your face than they really are. So you think things are right here near you when they're actually further away, giving a weird 3D illusion. And they had used these in previous haunted houses like Anxiety in 3D, way back, I think, 1999 and 2000, and Universal's Creature Features in 3D. I may have gotten those years flipped. And other haunted houses in the past, but this time it was more of a Funhouse effect, which would fit in with the idea of Jack and the 3D, and they allowed it to be bright and lots of light and lots of bright colors, because that worked best for this effect at that time. Now this year they're planning to do a similar effect in the in-between, and I don't know how well that's going to work. There's been a lot of speculation. If they can make it work in the dark, it would be awesome, because you go into a dark room and then things would be, you know, but I'm out of time already.